Hey there, folks. Welcome to another edition of Stairway to 7. And I'm still stunned they won last week. I mean, nothing about last week made any sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was a game that they should have lost, but it's still baffling that they still won. And honestly, it could turn their season around. I mean, when I really look back on it now that I've had a couple of days to really look at it, I think we've all had a couple of days to really think about what happened. It was mostly on Tampa Bay because, yeah, Tom Brady. Some people may call you the greatest quarterback ever, but you're not good enough to yell at your offensive line when you weren't even there. Is when you weren't even there on Friday or Saturday because you went to a wedding for your old owner Robert Kraft when you should have been preparing for this game. And now look what happened. Like everyone's pointing at you like it's like you're the reason why the team lost on Sunday, and you are part of the reason your team lost on Sunday. So it was more. I think it was more on Tampa Bay than the Steelers themselves because, I mean, I'll give it to the defense that came in. They did the best that they could, and Mike Tomlin, give him a lot of credit too for what he was able to do in that kind of a situation when you have most of your starting defensive people out, and everything was going against you. The fact that you were still winless without T.J. Watt until this week, that says a whole lot about this team in particular and how, like I said, it could actually help them going forward because now they're in a situation now where if they can get to 3-5 or 4-4 by the time the bye week comes the week after this next week after Philadelphia, and then this game tomorrow, I should say, because I'm recording this on Saturday. None of that made any sense. Let me rephrase that. But if they can get to 3-5 and 4-4 before the bye week, they're probably in a really good position right now because let's be honest, the rest of the AFC North ain't that spectacular right now. This is sorry about that. I mean, think about it. Cincinnati's just starting to get back on track after starting the season off 0-2. And then you have the Baltimore Ravens, who could be the best team in the division if their defense wasn't horrible in the fourth quarter and Lamar Jackson keeps making questionable plays. And then the Browns are just the Browns. I mean, no real explanation for that. The Browns are just the Browns right now. Even if they get Deshaun Watson back, there's no way they're making the playoffs this year. But as far as the Steelers go, it's still very much wide open for them. But it has to start. But they still need to get better as they go along, and we're kind of in that point where they were kind of last year after the Denver game where they beat the Denver Broncos, and then they hosted Seattle, which is very interesting when you think about it because Brandon Gaudin called that game against the Broncos last year, and then they hosted the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. What happens this year? Brandon Gaudin calls the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. They win that one. Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth on Sunday Night Football. When they'll call the Steeler game tomorrow night. So, coincidence? Maybe, but I don't know. I mean, I'm over exaggerating here, but let's talk about that game in particular, and that's against the Miami Dolphins, who at the start of the season looked pretty good. Tua Tagovailoa, actually looked pretty good. They got Tyreek Hill from Kansas City to help him, and so far he's been a big success. Him and Jalen Waddle have connected very well in that wide receiver core. The Dolphins overall, they were looking pretty good at the start of the season, and then the concussions happened. Tua gets the concussion in the win against Buffalo, and then doctors say he's cleared to go, and then 3 days later, he's got another concussion against Cincinnati, and the concussion protocol as we know it is now changed forever because of that. So thanks for that, Miami, and also they got rid of the doctor that they had there because obviously he missed that mark. He misplaced that mark big time. Like he completely screwed that up. And honestly, I'm not convinced that the doctor that they hired was that doctor Jordan Love who keeps pretending that he's a doctor but he's not really, and he's like a scam artist or something like that. But that's just some fun thinking that I have there. But so that since then they have not been very good. They've actually lost their last 3 games. And now Tua's coming back this week. He cleared the concussion protocol after a couple of weeks. And obviously we're going to see a much better Dolphins team than we've seen in the last couple of weeks. But if only that was the only story coming out of this game, because there are a lot of stories coming out of this game on both teams. First off, the Miami Dolphins. You've got Tua coming back. It's the 50th anniversary of the perfect season in 1972, so a lot of the players from that season are going to be there. Stephen Ross is coming back, the owner for the team after he was suspended. For the Steelers, Brian Flores is back in the place that he was the head coach for the last 3 seasons, and really got fired because of stupid reasonings. Because his teams didn't make the playoffs, but they came pretty close, and they actually looked like a much better team under Brian Flores. And now he comes back as the defensive assistant to the Steelers. But not only that, you got Minka Fitzpatrick coming back to the place he was drafted to, and then when the Steelers traded for him that year, whenever Ben Roethlisberger got injured, and look at the difference that it made for him. So there are a lot of stories coming out of this game that really could go either way for this team. Kenny Pickett, who we thought was going to be in the concussion protocol, which I guess he was in the concussion protocol, but luckily for him, he cleared it. He's going to play on Sunday, so that's a very good sign, and it's a good sign. But you also have to keep in mind that was kind of the same thing that happened with Tua in that game against Buffalo. Nobody thought he was going to play on Thursday night, and then he does, and then he gets another concussion. So that's something we definitely need to watch out for. But I mean, honestly, I would trust the doctors here in Pittsburgh more than I would in Miami. Just saying. I mean, this is a game that could really go either way when you really think about it. Are we going to get to see the same Tua that we saw in those first 3 weeks? I think it's going to start off slow for them. I think they'll make it a competitive matchup, especially if they get especially how do you cover a fast guy like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? That's going to be a tough thing to do, because obviously when Tua's playing, there's obviously a bigger advantage for the Dolphins. And for the Steelers, I mean, despite what happened last week, there's still not a good enough reason for me to be like, okay, I can see the season turning around for them because of the way they played last week. Because, well, Mitch Trubisky finished the game, and if anything, Mitch Trubisky played his best time as the quarterback last week for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, that was pitch perfect what he did. So there are a lot of question marks going into this game. Like, is Kenny Pickett going to be good enough to stick around with the Miami Dolphins? I think it should be a very close game. I think it's going to be a game that comes down to the wire of who has the ball last. I mean, honestly, if it works out like I think it should, because you got 2 really talented QBs there, this could be another really good QB rivalry that happens over the coming years, like Kenny Pickett and Tua Tagovailoa. If they play as well as I think they're going to play tomorrow, could be a very good rivalry going forward. But I want to say the Steelers win this one. I think this is the most optimistic I've been about the Steelers so far. But I don't know, man. The whole thing about that game, I just think Miami has the advantage, not just from the playing level, but from like a story-driven level. Like this reminds me all too much of what happened in Week 1 of 2019 when the Steelers went to the Patriots on Sunday Night Football, and the big story was Antonio Brown conned his way back into New England, and in that game, throughout the pregame and everything, nobody was talking about how the fact that, I can't believe Antonio Brown did this. I can't believe he did this to the Raiders. No, the whole thing was just like, man, how amazing is it going to be when Tom Brady starts throwing to Antonio Brown? The whole thing was just like an Antonio Brown suckfest. They were just so excited about this guy, even though he made god awful reasons for how he got to there. What am I even talking about? He made stupid decisions. He conned his way into New England, and the entire game was nothing about how the Steelers were coming in there. It was all about Antonio Brown, and how it felt like the whole game everyone was making fun of the Steelers for no reason whatsoever, except the fact that Antonio Brown pulled a fast one on Mike Tomlin. Well, of course we all know what happened after that, but certainly this game will not be on that same level. But it just kind of reminds me of what happened in that Week 1 2019 game. But Like I said, the big difference is that it's going to feel very good to see Tua back on the field, but I think it's going to be a very close game. It should be a very close game, and I think Miami will eke out a win because they really need it. And, well, the Steelers also really need it, too, because, like I said, their next opponent is going to be the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles, who are on their bye week this week. So, yeah, it would help them to get a win this week, but I'm just not ready to really say that the Steelers have enough there to compete with Miami. It's going to be very close. I'm saying the Dolphins are going to win this one barely. At least that's what it should be. It should not be another blowout like it was against Buffalo. It shouldn't be. It's probably going to be something on the lines of the Patriots and the Jets, where they're so close, and they just can't. They're so close, and they just can't pull out the win at the end. That's just how I feel like this game is going to end up being. So, I'm going with the Dolphins on this one. I could be completely wrong on this, but that's just how I feel right now. So, that's my thoughts on that game. Let's take a look at the predictions for the rest of Week 7. And as you can see, last week I did absolutely horrible. Only got 5 of the 14 games correct. Hopefully better fortunes this time around. I did pick the Cardinals to win over the Saints, so I got that one right. I have the Bengals over the Falcons. I have the Cowboys over the Lions. I've got the Titans over the Colts, the Packers over the Commanders. I actually had the Panthers over the Buccaneers because I felt like that was a game that Steve Wilkes, the interim head coach, that's when I thought they'd pull an upset on. But then Christian McCaffrey got traded to the 49ers. So, sorry, Carolina. I've got Tampa Bay beating you on that one. I think they come back on that one. I'm going with the Giants over the Jaguars. I might be cursing them because I haven't picked them. I don't think I picked them once this season. I could be wrong. No, maybe I did pick them. I did pick them once against the Cowboys, and they lost that game. But so I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm thinking right now. I'm just going with the Giants over the Jaguars. I think the Giants right now are just playing some good football right now. I've got the Ravens over the Browns. I've got the Jets over the Broncos, especially now that Russell Wilson is not playing, which probably could be better for Denver. I'm not sure. But we'll see what happens. I've got the Raiders over the Texans right now, the first Super Bowl of the year. Chargers over the Seahawks, Chiefs over the 49ers. As I said, Dolphins over the Steelers, and the Patriots over the Bears, because the Bears are not very good right now, and I think New England will just mop the floor with them. So, those are my picks for this week. Now let's go to the local predictions.
Welcome back. It is time to beat the bus syndrome. Things are getting really interesting here in our race for the championship. Last week, Albie actually had the best week, coming in at 500, getting 4 of the 8 games correct. Jerome, you and I each picked 3 games correctly against the spread. So my lead, it remains. I'm 2 games ahead of you.
That's right. Got you right where I want you.
But look who's caught up, you and Albie.
Oh, my goodness.
Tied at 500 exactly. Looks like you got your hands full a little bit there. Now, of course, we are going to start with the Steelers and Dolphins on Channel 11, Sunday Night Football. Steelers 7-point dogs here. How does this one play out?
You know what? I think that's a little bit too much for the Steelers. I think the Steelers find a way to get the job done. They may not win the football game, but it's going to be competitive, I do believe. The Steelers always find a way to play very well on primetime games. This is a Sunday night game. I think the Steelers come in. I think they actually win this game.
I'm with you on that one. 7 points, just too many. So all 3 of us are going with the Steelers to at least cover, if not win outright.
BetMGM Steelers Kickoff is presented by Chevrolet. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Now it's time for the predictions of the show. Remember, against Buffalo, the Steelers were 14-point underdogs. They were 10-point underdogs last week. They are 7-point underdogs in this game. Rich, you're first. Who do you like?
All right, I think a lot of fans back at home won't like this pick. Maybe they'll like it one way, but not the other way. I think the Dolphins are going to win this game 24-20. I still don't think the Steelers' offense will score that many points. They'll still struggle on offense, despite Kenny Pickett coming back here today. I don't think that they'll get it going. I think it's going to take a few more weeks for this offense to get going. So I like them 24-20, the Dolphins winning this game. But, with the spread, take the Steelers the other way, guys.
Yeah, that's the spread winner, a game loser. Charlie, how do you see it?
I have a lot of defensive minds in this game. It's not going to be that high scoring, so I'm going low. I don't even think that was my score, 17-16. I thought it was as low as 13-12. But either way, I have the Steelers winning this game.
That seems to be the trend in the NFL. Jerry Dulac, what do you say?
Yeah, I'm with you, Charlie. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and the Steelers win. That's exactly right. It'll be a low-scoring game. I don't have a great feel for this game. I don't know if the Steelers will build on what they did last week or the Dolphins will play like they did the first 3 games with Tua. But I like the Steelers in a close one, 17-16.
All right, I'm going to go with Rich. I think the Dolphins are going to win this game. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Miami, which has lost 3 in a row, they don't normally lose at home. We'll find out what happens tonight.
That'll bring a scoreless third quarter to
Nothing has happened. That's what's scary about this. Miami could still win this. Pittsburgh could still win this, but nobody's really doing anything. This could get ugly.
Just didn't give it up. Fantastic job by the back end of the roster here tonight.
Noah Igbenogany. Sunday, one more time. Mike McDaniel.
Okay. I got what I wanted. A close game. It wasn't a blowout. But I don't get it. Like, what does Matt Canada have to still have a job for this team? Like, it's just... I knew going in that it was going to be like this. I knew it was going to be like this. But I knew Miami was going to win it. But still, just the way that it was setting itself up, and then for them to do nothing on offense until it was too late. Like, the defense was doing their job for the most part. The offense wasn't doing anything. And then, yeah, Kenny Pickett threw those bad interceptions. Like, it's just... I'm literally at the point where I want to punch a wall right now, but I'm not going to do that. Like, that throw I did was already, and it was more than enough for me. Like, to have a game that close with a chance for them to win it, and then to do nothing until it's too late. Just... I don't have anything to say right now. I mean, what do I want to say about what happened today? I mean, I guess I'll give them this. After the way they started, like, letting Miami get 13 points on them, they did slow the game down. They had these long drives, and you thought maybe when the second half got around, that momentum would carry over. But this is the 2022 Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the Matt Canada offense. We have to show everybody that we can be competent for one single quarter and then do absolutely nothing else until it's too little too late. And guess what happened? The same thing happened this week. It was literally like watching the Jets game again. It was like watching the Browns game. It was like watching the Patriots game. All 3 of those games winnable, and they did absolutely nothing before it's too late. Like, this is the worst team in football right now. I know the Texans are worse right now. They have a worse record as of the day of this taping. The day of this recording. I know that Jacksonville's not very good right now. I know Denver's not very good right now. But you know what? They're at least trying. The Jets almost lost to the Broncos today. The Jaguars almost beat the Giants today. The Texans had a chance to beat the Raiders, but they fell off. This team can't do anything because it's stuck with this stupid conservative offense. And it's going through, it's like that every single game. And there's no reason to believe it's going to get any better anytime soon, especially next week. You're going to go into Philadelphia with that type of an offense. Yeah, good luck with that. Like, you're going to be lucky that I'm not going to be there to watch the game. And you'll see why when we get to that point in the week. But bottom line, there's not going to be an episode. But there's going to be a reason why when we get then. But that's pushed aside. Just, I don't understand why they can't just admit that Matt Canada is a big problem. I don't understand why they can't admit this offense is a huge problem. You can't just keep throwing dinks and dunks down the middle of the field. You can't just keep running the ball and then throwing on third down. That's Nathaniel Hackett bullshit. That's what Nathaniel Hackett does for the Denver Broncos whenever Russell Wilson's under center. Like, you have Russell Wilson as your quarterback. You gave him $256 million before he even put on the Bronco uniform, and he's played horrible this season. And I know, it's a rookie quarterback, but still, you have to learn to not make those mistakes, especially at a point right now where your defense did probably the best job they've done the entire season, giving you a chance to win this game. And for you to do absolutely nothing when Miami was literally giving you every opportunity possible to win this game, and that's how you play in the second half, it's just asinine to watch this team. It's like being psychologically tortured every time you watch this team this year. They give you the highest hopes possible that they're going to finally turn the corner, and then they pull out a performance like that in the fourth quarter. Just inexcusable on so many levels. I shouldn't be mad about this because I got what I wanted. I didn't get a blowout like what happened in Buffalo 2 weeks ago, but that still doesn't change the fact that this team is so horrible right now. It is so horrible right now, and those people that said Steelers shouldn't even bother to do something at the trade deadline, do something at the trade deadline, for God's sakes. Even if you have to get rid of people that you weren't even going to get rid of in the first place. Like, just do something. Anything to turn this season around. Like, you still are not going to have TJ Watt for another 2 weeks. You really think you're still going to be competitive at 2-6 when you have to come back from the bye week with TJ Watt back in the lineup? I don't think so, man. Man, this just... Ugh. Like, I have to vent after stuff like that because it's just... There's just no reason for them to keep doing this every single week, to have an opportunity to win a game, to have an opportunity to spoil a party for somebody, and they just don't do it when they have to do it. Like, they did nothing for the second half until the last 6 minutes, and even then, nothing came of it because of 2 bad interceptions. Like, maybe you don't have this problem if you actually maybe go for it on 4th and 1. If you can't get Najee Harris to get you 1 yard, then there's clearly a problem with your coaching abilities. It just adds more fuel to the fire that Mike Tomlin, like, God bless him, he's so passionate about being a player's coach and all that, but somebody has to tell him, hey, that winning season record that you have going right now, that ain't going to mean shit if you lose the games the way you're doing now. And especially, it's not going to help you if New England somehow gets another Super Bowl in the next couple of years and this franchise becomes irrelevant again. Because I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen down the road. Pittsburgh's just going to keep playing this conservative game. Meanwhile, Bill Belichick's got two good quarterbacks right now with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. And you know what? I'd still pick him to go to a Super Bowl over the Steelers right now. I would pick the Cleveland Browns right now to go over the Steelers. That's how bad this team is playing right now. And they don't even have Deshaun Watson playing for the Browns yet. Just, it's ridiculous that almost every single week now, this team just keeps putting me in a state of depression every single time. Like, there were points in this game when I really could have just turned the TV off and just go straight over to Fox. I could have been watching Bob's Burgers. I could have been watching The Simpsons. I could have been watching Family Guy. But you know what I did? I kept through it because I'm not going to be one of those people. I'm trying to be not one of those people that is ready to just throw everything away and just completely give up on this team, because that's just the point I'm at right now. Like, I'm fighting those urges not to resort to those levels. Like, it's getting harder and harder to defend this team. Like, at this point, I'd say just tank and go for the top draft pick. I mean, look at what Carolina did today. They beat Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, which, if anything, that just tells you that the Buccaneers are just a terrible team this year, and the Steelers just got lucky. They just got lucky. That's just really what it comes down to now. Like, I really do not believe that win against the Buccaneers was legitimate now. Like, we're coming up on 8 minutes now on this rant, and really, what more do I have to say right now? It's just unbelievable how horrible this team is playing right now, and I'm just out of it, man. And like I said, luckily, I'm not gonna be able to watch the game next week, and you're gonna see why in a couple days. I'm not gonna spoil the surprise for you, but yeah, I'm just gonna say right now the Steelers will lose against the Eagles. Like I said before, 60 years without a win in Philadelphia, and you think that this team that played as badly as they did in the second half is gonna do that? No, that's not going to happen. This team is going to be this team will literally 2-6 by the time the bye week happens, and then after that, there's no hope at all for this team. Even when T.J. Watt comes back, there's nothing that they can do as long as this offense remains so inept, conservative, and just unable to do whatever it has to do to win a game. Like, I can look at all 31 other offensive coordinators in the NFL right now, and most of them, I could see them actually doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to find flaws in the defense. They're supposed to find ways to get open for these big chunk plays. None of that happens with Matt Canada here. I swear, if Matt Canada still has a job by the time the bye week comes around, then this team is completely effed. This team is completely effed. Not that they already are now, but well, we're about to reach the 10-minute mark now, and this is a venting process for me. This is a venting process, and it's going to be nice to get away from this for a week, because I don't think I can take another week of losing, and then the output, and then seeing Mike Tomlin give the stock answers and just not lighting a fire on anybody. Like, really, what do we have to do to get rid of these dunderheads, Tomlin and Canada? What do we have to do? Seriously. I'm just out of it right now, so. Steelers lost another winnable game again. So, I guess see you after the bye week then, I guess.